Welcome to Grabbing the Bullhorn, the podcast where generations come together to talk about the stories shaping sports, culture, politics, history, and everything in between. I'm Natalie Bober.
I'm Karen Zimbler, and every week we bring different perspectives to our conversations because sometimes its best discussions are when we don't agree.
And before we get started, just a quick reminder, the opinions shared on this podcast are our own. We're here to have a thoughtful conversation. We're here to have fun, answer questions, and learn from each other. But today, we're talking about something near and dear to our hearts, baseball. The All-Star Game wasn't just about baseball this year. It was about America. Philadelphia hosted the Midsummer Classic during America's 250th birthday, giving fans unforgettable moments from a Sandlot-inspired tribute to kids sharing the field with baseball's biggest stars. But next year, the baseball world comes to Chicago, to Wrigley Field. And joining us is someone who knows Wrigley better than almost anyone.
He's become one of the most recognizable faces in the stands at Wrigley Field, hawking his hot dogs, his beer, his snacks, and giving us all a lot of laughs. You may know him as Jewish Jonah. Welcome to Grabbing the Bullhorn.
Thanks for having me. Thrilled to be here
Well,
and
we're glad
chatting
you're
all
here
things.
too.
Yeah.
So let's start by getting to know you a little bit better. So how did you become a vendor? What made you decide? Was it a summer job that you just said, this is great?
Yeah, it was kind of always my dream to work for the Cubs. Grew up on the north side of Chicago and was a diehard Cubs fan basically from the time I came out of the womb. And ultimately, I had an opportunity the summer after my senior year of high school. Two of my friends and I wanted to give a shot at vending, and one of my friends' dads used to be a vendor. So he put us in contact with the concessionaire that runs the vending operations, Levy Restaurants. And I emailed them and I was like, hey, I'm an 18-year-old about to go to college and I would
Perfect,
love to work
perfect.
for you this summer. And next thing you know, hired.
And,
Here we are 12 years later.
and how did you get
12 years. Wow.
that's
Yeah.
almost a lifetime in vending. How did you get the name Jewish Jonah?
That was my Twitter handle when I first made a Twitter account freshman year of high school, and I just kind of kept it. I thought it was good alliteration, and obviously I am Jewish, and it's hysterical when people ask me if I am because I don't know a ton of people who are making their social media channels a religion
Why
and then their
would you
name
use
if
that
they are
name?
not. Right. So it just kind of stuck, and now it has become this persona of my vending and content creator career.
So are you always in the same section at Wrigley or do they send you all over?
This is a great question. So to clarify, we actually get to choose the sections and the products
Oh,
every day. And the way it happens is through a product draft, essentially. So we all line up in seniority order about 90 minutes before game time. You've got Hopper, who's at the very front of the line. He has been working as a vendor for 62 years. So you mentioned 12 years is an eternity in the vendor world. I'm still a baby in the vendor community because it's the best job and no one quits. So even though I've been there 12 years, I'm still probably like 60% of the way back in the line. Um, and then there's a sheet that has all of the products and sections for the game. And one by one, the vendors draft what they're going to be selling and where each game. So by the time I get up, I am so far back in the line that I have no idea what will be available for me. And then I have to make a split second decision based on what I see on the sheet and what's available.
And how did you come up with, and for anyone who doesn't know, Jonah has two callings that are very well known now in the stands, the goose is loose and your hot dog call. How did you come up with the goose is loose and how did you perfect the hot dog call?
I feel like the call is kind of like an artist's signature.
mhm. That's your
For the
brand
goose is
now.
exactly, yeah. For the goose is loose. I stole that, candidly. There was another vendor that when I had started vending, he would bring I don't know if he brought a whistle with him like I do or not, but he would constantly go around screaming the goose is loose. And he's not vending anymore, so I am carrying on his tradition with my $1 Amazon duck call whistle. But for the hot dog call, that one is kind of just you hear other vendors' hot dog calls and mold your own. For me, like
Can you
I
give us a
figured
sample?
Obviously, I can give you a sample naturally. I've got a night game tonight against the Twins. I got to warm up the voice. So for me, I thought that it would be prudent to try to get people's attention first before I would tell them what I was selling. So my call is hot dogs. And the beginning part of it is kind of what breaks the silence, gets everyone's attention. Now they're looking at me, and I hit them with the two words that everyone loves to hear, hot dogs, so that they know what I'm selling. But I do the same thing with beer. It's kind of like, hey, beer man, 312 IPA, who's ready beer? So that's kind of my own signature on my call.
And how many games do you think you've been in the stands, not just as a fan, but as a vendor?
I could probably tell you close to the exact number because ever since my second year, I started tracking every game that I worked in an Excel spreadsheet and keep very detailed records. I don't have it in front of me right now. If I had to guess, I've probably averaged 50 games a year for the past decade. So I'm probably around 100, or sorry, probably around 500 games worked and maybe another 50 as a fan.
Now, I've been following you for a while, and one of my favorite clips of you is on Yom Kippur. You missed Yom Kippur to vend at the Cubs game. Did anyone say anything during the game or ask you any questions about that?
Constantly. Yeah. It's funny because I feel like I'm the opposite of Sandy Koufax, where he didn't pitch in the World Series because I think it was just because of Passover, even or because of Shabbat, maybe,
Yeah.
if not even maybe it was Yom Kippur. I can't remember, but yeah, a lot of. But it was mostly other Jewish people that were asking me that were also at Wrigley instead. But I feel like the Cubs is my religion, and it's my calling, and ultimately I supported my duty to fast by not having any hot dogs.
Karen and I have a little bet. We noticed that the slump happened right after the owner of the Billy Goat Tavern died. And you seem, and this is no pun intended, resurrection with your Jesus video. What do you believe in curses and do you believe in superstitions?
I'm so glad that you have called this out because the day that I purchased a cameo video blessing from Jesus was the beginning of the
I didn't know
new
you could get
streak. And
cameo
we
with
since
Jesus.
then have, I believe, had the best record
Okay.
in the MLB, 20-8
Hmm.
since then. Normally, I would say no. I do not believe in curses or jinxes, although as a Cubs fan, kind of hard to
Avoid it.
not
Yeah.
believe in it based
Yeah.
on our history. Had we lost after the rain delay in 2016, I would have been fully convinced that we were never going to win ever and that curses were real and it just wasn't going to happen for us. But ultimately, like I just decided, there's only so much I can do at the stadium trying to hydrate fans, make them be well fed and energetic so they can contribute to the atmosphere and rooting on our team. And that wasn't working. Had to turn to Jesus and he helped. And
The come to
if we look
Jesus
back,
moment.
it was big time come to Jesus moment. And if the Cubs make a deep run in the playoffs and maybe a World Series, and there's ever another documentary, we might have to look back at the day that Jewish Jonah linked up with Jesus to save the season.
Yeah.
The Sox have the Pope, we have Jewish Jonah.
Right, there you go. There you go.
Now, did you watch the All-Star game?
No, I did not. I watched the highlights after, but I was unable to tune in to either the Home Run Derby or All-Star game.
Out of the highlights, what were your favorite highlights? And did that include PCA talking about Devin Hester?
It absolutely did. Did not know that PCA's dad was a Bears fan, which Makes so much sense.
Yeah, he's an actor and his parents are actors in California and Hollywood.
Yeah, didn't know that. But loved hearing that PCA just watches Devin Hester highlights. Um, the Speaking of highlights, some of my favorites, actually probably my favorite was Miguel Vargas from the Sox hitting
Oh,
an
man.
absolute moonshot.
Yeah, not just a
Um,
home run. It was a
yeah, and I always say like I'm not anti-White Sox. I think it's good for the sport and the city when both teams are good. So they're fun. And there's a lot of vendors that work both Wrigley and White Sox. And obviously, I want the White Sox to be good so that people show up and they spend money. And then my guys that are working both stadiums are making money over there too. So that was probably my number one highlight, obviously, aside from the PCA, Devin Hester, Chicago Bears, and his friendship with Caleb Williams.
And I know you're still going to, and I'm assuming you're going to still vend next season.
Oh, yeah.
Do you
If
think
there
that
is a season.
yeah,
that's
that's
what we
another
were
other topic. Yeah.
that's what we were going to talk about next. Do you think that you'll be able to work the All-Star game?
Oh, yeah. I'm counting on it. I think that it is quite likely. The I mean, in terms of like overall prestige of event, there are only so many vending spots available. And back when I had started, sometimes it got to me at like the literally the very end of the line. There were no spots left, and I'd have to go home. I'm pretty much far enough along in line that I can get a spot. Might not be my ideal spot if a lot of vendors show up, but just to be
You'll be
there
there.
would be
You'll be there though, somewhere.
that's the goal. Yeah.
If you could create any event in the All-Star game, what would that event be?
I would love to see a, you know how there's like a celebrity softball game?
Yeah.
Give
Oh,
up,
like a pro-am, yeah.
yeah, give us a vendor softball game, just an inning or two.
The vendors versus the grounds crew.
Exactly. Perfect. That's it. That's the one. We get a
Oh,
one inning
I would
game.
watch that.
I would watch that,
I think it would be
definitely.
amazing.
I would pay to watch that. So and you've seen a lot of Cubs games.
Oh yeah.
Where do you think the Cubs are going to go the second half? Who's going to be the hero? Because that was our first episode. We talked
Yeah.
about who's going to save the Cubs.
Yeah.
And what do the Cubs have to keep doing to one, make the playoffs, and two, to stay in the playoffs?
Well, I think it all depends on what happens in 2 weeks at the deadline. I can't believe that we have the record we do with all of our pitching injuries. I hope we go get some pitchers both in the starters and relievers departments. But if PCA can keep doing what he's doing, that would be enormous.
Yeah.
And I think that some of the other guys need to step up. Big second half from Seiya Suzuki. Bregman's heating up. Michael Bush kind of needs to return to form a little bit.
Yeah, Dansby
And
is there's flickers of hope.
yeah, certainly are. Yeah. And it's just nice to have a good, strong defense that at
Right.
least you
They
can
could all
rely
be
on.
hitting on all cylinders at the same time. There's
Yeah,
no stopping them.
I think the offense can compete with anyone. I'm worried about the pitching a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll see. If the wind's blowing out at Wrigley, though, no lead is safe, and I'll take our bats over anyone else's.
And for people who are worried about coming to Chicago next year because they've heard the headlines, they think Chicago's not safe. What can you tell them about Wrigley and what can you tell them about Chicago? Because everyone knows you were the spokesperson for Chicago.
Well, that is
That's
a
a
big
lot of pressure we're
responsibility.
putting on you right now.
I do feel like a walking Chicago advertisement though, with the amount of either Cubs or Chicago gear that I'm constantly wearing. I mean, I've lived in the city for 8 years now, grew up on the north side of the or north suburbs. I It's no different than any other city. I mean, well, it is in a sense that it's the best city in the world, but in terms of safety, every city has different pockets of neighborhoods that you shouldn't go, and it's very hard to stumble upon these neighborhoods that might be a little more dangerous. So I wouldn't be worried. Come on down, come to Wrigleyville. I literally live down the
I
street
grew
from the
up there.
stadium.
That's where I
The
grew up.
best.
My grade school is on Addison. It's now some kind of academy now, I think. But we'd run over to the games after school all the time.
Oh yeah. I'm
Yeah.
on Clark and Roscoe.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to get to the ballpark, and never once have I felt unsafe around here. And I mean, Chicago's Chicago. We got the best food. We got the lake. We got sports, art, you name it.
And before we wrap up, what's the one thing you tell Cubs fans or whoever comes to Wrigley for the All-Star game, if we have it, what's the one thing they should get from either vending or concessions?
Yeah, what's the best food?
Well, I mean, I might be a little biased, but you gotta get a Wrigley hot dog. You have two, honestly, you have to get two hot dogs. One, the classic experience from the vendors in the seats. Uh, but then two, I do recommend getting a second hot dog at one of the concession stands or the grills. And there are topping stations where you can load it up Chicago style with all the necessary ingredients. As a vendor, we only carry ketchup, mustard, and relish packets, and you need to get both experiences checked
Except
off the bucket list.
not with ketchup. Can't
Well,
do ketchup.
I'm legally obligated by
You have to
Heinz to offer
carry, you have
ketchup.
to provide everything. Bring back the frosty malt. Do you know?
Totally agree. Amen. Although, big news, a couple of the new Amazon Go places where you can get
Yeah.
concession items at Wrigley carry Dippin' Dots now, which we've never had Dippin' Dots at Wrigley Field. And
Okay.
I'm a big Dippin' Dots fan. But I agree. I miss the old Frosty Malts. I would always get one when I went as a kid, as a fan, and then I started selling them, and now we don't have them anymore.
Well, thank you, Jonah. We appreciate you coming on, and if we could have
One last call.
one last call.
Hot dogs!
Thank you, Jonah.
Thank you.
We'd like to take a minute to thank Jewish Jonah for joining us on Grabbing the Bullhorn. We hope he will come back during the playoffs. That was a great conversation.
What great insights into being a vendor.
He answered questions that you'd never think that you'd get to hear.
Who knew?
Who knew? But like, subscribe, share, comment. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time,
Let's grab the bullhorn.